Yeah, back together again in person.
I know. This is big.
There's not a Zoom box between us. This is nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Brian's not here with us. But
that's a good thing.
It's a good thing. He said it.
Yep.
He'll probably edit that out.
I don't know. Maybe that'd be a good intro. Welcome to another episode of Power of Bourbon. So it is a special weekend. It's 4th of July weekend.
4th of July. Happy birthday, America.
Yeah. We are at my in-laws' lake house and relaxing. And as always, whenever Chuck and I meet up, I bring him a lot of bourbon that he bought. If you didn't check out the last live stream I did with my wife, where we almost opened his bottles but decided not to because...
Our friendship's still intact because it was almost.
Yep.
It did not occur.
Yeah, so that was all good things. But with this, we have the Sam Houston 15 and the Sam Houston 14. So the 2021 release and the 2020 release. If you didn't see it, the 15 was actually kind of a collaboration with a lot of the bigger YouTube channels and influencers and things like that.
Decide picking which batch.
Yeah. So the Sam Houston 14 we have is KY02. Which is Kentucky Batch 2. The batch size was 3 barrels. And then the 15 we have KY1, which the batch size is 3 barrels. So we figured instead of doing a straight 15 review because the third blade or the tripod is not here, that we would just put these two next to each other and see which one we thought was the best and kind of give you an idea if you should be looking out for the 15 or not.
Yeah, so it's like interesting in a wine tasting. Sometimes you'll do a vintage flight where you see how it changed across the years. So this is literally, same mash bill, we presume, same rick house where it was stored, and really the difference is an extra year in the barrel. So we'll see what that year did. And obviously they're a little bit different barrels that went into it, so there's some variation that could occur from that. So it's not just the year in the barrel, but...
So always on the nose. It is a 14-year-old product, so you're getting a lot of the oak characteristics, everything that you would think kind of from an old bourbon. The other thing is they are distilled and aged in Bardstown, Kentucky. So that kind of narrows it down to two things, which means it's either going to be Heaven Hill or it's going to be Bart. It's one of those two, and that's just what you're dealing with.
Get the classic, vanilla and some sweet cherry on the nose. It's not over oaked, honestly. For a 14-year product, like this is nicely balanced.
Yeah, it goes back to show that 10 to 15 years is kind of that sweet spot. Like that is your prime age for a bourbon. And then on the palate, I'm getting tons of brown sugar, a little bit of caramel, vanilla. It's just a very classic bourbon.
Yeah, some of the oak comes through, I think, and more in the palate to me than the nose.
But I am willing to say, while it's good and it's delicious, it is a classic bourbon, so there's nothing like standing out to wow you.
I'd concur. 100% agree. And so this one's coming in at 98 proof, which our palates have kind of gravitated more towards higher proof barrel strength, 110 plus.
Yeah.
So it takes something pretty special, I think, at that 100 or below that to surprise me.
Yes. I
think the best piece of this, at least right now, is the finish. It's got a nice lasting finish that's not overly spicy.
Mm-hmm.
At 100 proof, what percent is our rye? So we have 18% rye.
Yeah.
So not a super high rye mash bill, but definitely some in there. And that's not the dominant note coming through on the finish.
Well, and even on on that finish, there's just not that rye finish that you're used to, which is interesting. Just a delightful bourbon. So MSRP, you're looking right around 120, 130. Are there better bourbons in that price range? I would say yes. Probably. Like the entire Discovery from Bardstown. Yeah. You're talking, what else is up there in that price range that's really good?
Some of the aged MGP products. You have your barrel batches.
Right, and also this is a limited release, so if I'm going to compare that to other limited releases, you're talking all the Elijah Craig barrel proofs, all the Maker's Mark limited editions. So I guess, like recommendation-wise, the Sam Houston's, if you like all those really traditional bourbon stuff, yeah, go for it. This is definitely for you. You're not going to be disappointed, but you're also not going to be wow, I guess is the safe way to say it.
Yeah, I think it really depends. And I've started to see this now as like I'll have friends come over and I'll put together some flights for them. And you start to see where certain people just aren't ready their palates aren't ready for a higher proof. I say ready for it. Or that's just not where they live. It's not really where they want to be. So if that's the case, if you're enjoying a Blanton's, if you're enjoying some of the other Buffalo Trace products, like this is going to be a premium product that it's probably more available even than some of those Buffalo Trace products.
So
at $120, like that would be a great bourbon for you.
And remember, there's different batches. So we've got Kentucky batches here, but there's also Indiana, Tennessee, Illinois batches, everything like that. And it is a very good point. Like if you've got, well-off friends and you want to get them into bourbon, instead of spending $40 for that Basil Hayden, just go and spend $100 on the Sam Houston. It's way better across the board. Honestly, like it has a cooler looking bottle. So every reason why people go after Basil Hayden, this is better. Now you're paying like 3 times the price for it, but you would also enjoy it too.
Much better product.
Yeah.
So Western Spirits also does Calumet Farms, right?
Yes.
So this would be actually I had the Calumet 14 and was able to taste the Calumet 15, and those to me contrasted. I prefer the Sam Houstons to the Calumets personally.
Yes.
I thought the Calumets were over oaked. It ended up with almost too much of that oak in the char.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like the general community consensus from what I'm seeing, because I'm seeing a lot of Calumet Farms 15 just kind of sitting on the shelf and nobody's willing to buy it. The Sam Houston sits a little bit, but it's going quicker than the Calumet.
Yeah, so there seems to be a consensus there.
So, I mean, nose basically exactly the same, maybe a little more oak on it.
Yeah, I pick up honestly a little bit more oak on the nose. But still some of that sweet vanilla cherry kind of coming through as well. But still pretty average, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like nothing too. Still that, I mean, honestly, it finishes nicely. I think that's still.
I think the rye comes through on the finish on this one a little bit more. I get a little bit more of that peppery rye finish that I'm used to with this one. It lingers a little bit more.
Sure.
Whereas the previous one just kind of was there and gone. This one starts to go down the throat a little bit. Probably partly because it's a higher proof also.
Marginally. I mean, we're talking 103 proof versus 98.
Sure.
So not much. Still right in that 100 proof range. No, I mean, honestly, like the differences are subtle.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you liked one, you'd like the other. But I would give the nod to the 15.
Yeah, and you're probably not going to find the 14 anywhere.
No, that was
by
last
now.
year.
Yeah. So
maybe if you're lucky and it's collecting dust on the shelf somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think my recommendation is if you're really into low proof bourbon,
that's right,
and you want to start getting into older age statements to see if you like the really oaky notes, this is a safe way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you're not going to get any of those crazy spices, ethanol burns, and everything like that you get when you do barrel strength stuff, and it's still really good. It's got all your classic bourbon notes, everything like that. So it's a good buy. However, if you are into barrel strength bourbons and things like that, if the majority of things you drink are 110 or higher, probably not going to do it for you. But I think there also needs to be something said, like lower proof stuff is still good. There's nuances in here that you can really taste and learn. So, I mean, I'm not going to actively hunt it, but if I saw it on a shelf and there wasn't anything else I needed to buy that day, I would not feel bad having purchased it.
I'm not going to revisit these bottles frequently when they're on my shelf, but I'm happy to have them on my shelf because I know I have friends and family that come over that they would really enjoy both of these actually in comparison to some of the other products. So definitely glad that I have them, but but I'm going to go for a Maker's FAE01. I'm going to go for Elijah Craig Barrel Proof or a Discovery Series. And you guys know how much I love those too. So.
Yeah.
So that's probably where I would live as well. But this is a delightfully easy drinker with some complexity in that $120 price point. So if that doesn't scare you,
yeah,
I think it's fine.
And without a doubt, when Sam Houston 16 comes up, Chuck's going to buy that. He's just got to complete the verdict.
Of course, yeah. He didn't buy it for me.
Yep. So once again, thanks for watching. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Let us know below in the comments. Have you tried any of the Sam Houstons, and what do you think?
Or the Calumet. What do you think?
Or the Calumet. Which one do you like? We'd love to hear. So once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Vinny and Power Bourbon, since Brian's not here.
Yep.
Cheers.